As a public school system, it's really important for us to listen to our community and to ask them questions about what it is they want for graduates from this school system. If a student attends basic public schools from kindergarten through 12th grade, then we should be having the conversation with parents and teachers and business leaders and community members about the sorts of outcomes that they're looking for from our graduates.
I was very impressed that the Bay City Public Schools started this Business Leader Summit, and they have invited us, business leaders in the community, to come in to the schools, and we have meetings, discussions about what they can do to better prepare their students for the real world and for getting jobs. And I think that it's really cutting edge for them to be inviting business leaders in, and they want to hear what we have to say, and they want our opinions, and I think that's wonderful.
We want our graduates to be aware, prepared, and eligible. A profile of a Bay City Public School graduate is what our community expects our graduates to look like when they enter into the workforce.
The Bay City Public Schools profile of a graduate includes awareness of themselves and their opportunities, eligibility for the pathway that they want to be on, and then prepared with a set of skills like collaboration and communication and critical thinking, in addition to having content knowledge.
It's really important for students to make sure they know how to communicate effectively on multiple different mediums, in person, on the written communication, to really be able to build relationships to take them for the long term.
We want to make sure that our students, as they leave our school system, are self-aware and that they are able to interact not only with others professionally, but within groups as well.
Our graduate profile at Bay City Public Schools is designed to serve as a tool to both communicate back to the community what it is that we're hearing from them about what they want for kids who graduate from our school system, as well as used as an internal document for helping us talk about what it is the community is seeking in terms of skills and knowledge and dispositions of students who go here.
Yeah, they want the problem solvers. They want the people that can solve problems that don't even exist yet, which is so challenging. The community is really struggling, looking for young adults that have those communication skills, where they can talk face-to-face with others, where they can accept feedback.
Being prepared for skills for success means that our students, when they go out into the work world, have all those core components to be a successful, productive member of society and also the workforce.
Deeper learning encourages students to be active in the learning process rather than passive recipients of information.
In business, it's critically important that you identify a direction and you work towards that direction. What is even more important at the end of the day is that if things aren't working, you change. And you change in a way in which you think they will work. And I think that you're seeing that here now. That's a business practice that every successful business understands.
We're going to have to be the facilitator, the organizer, the planner, and the kids are going to get there in their own way. And I think that's going to be a learning process for a lot of teachers, because we're very used to being the controller of everything, and that's going to be difficult and a challenge for a lot of teachers, but I think it's going to be a good change for us.
I'm inspired. I think as teachers, if we are not looking to reinvent ourselves constantly, we're losing the passion that first got us into this field. So I'm extremely excited. I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm curious, I'm a lot of things, but I believe this is the right way to go.
In my opinion, deeper learning is putting student-centered practices at the forefront. It allows students to work higher up in Bloom's taxonomy so that they're collaborating, they're doing some learning together as a learning community. They are making sense of information by building off of one another's ideas. And it's a process in a classroom that kind of unfolds where kids are working on authentic learning tasks that are meaningful and important to them.
The emphasis is really placed on students taking ownership for their learning. There's that reflection piece with the deeper learning where students can be evaluative of their learning, see their struggles, see their successes, and really be reflective on their learning and be critical thinkers.
We've had a much higher increase in students who want to learn the stuff, kids who are asking better questions than it used to just be, well, how do I get an A? And now they're actually asking, well, what would I do to fix this? Or how would I go about doing this, instead of just, what do I need to do to get the A? They're engaging with the learning itself instead of just doing it because that's what you're supposed to do.
We're talking about having a set of skills like collaboration, communication, work ethic, or what we call agency, and critical thinking that will act as igniters for the knowledge that students are gaining throughout school to be able to be productive members of our community.
What we're trying to do is the integration of all of those skills coupled with our power standards and our core curriculum standards. The beauty that we're going to have is the teachers that are going to be working together, and coupled with all of those core content standards and power standards and all of these items like collaboration, communication, critical thinking, all of those together are going to help these students move forward. Now, how do we weave them together? We weave them together by thinking about the end first. So what do we want our students to learn? And then what we call backwards design, what do we want them to learn? And then we work backwards from there. How do we integrate communication, collaboration, critical thinking into these projects?
A classroom that's engaged in deeper learning might not look like a traditional classroom. It might be noisy and messy. So we might have some kids working and collaborating together while others are maybe working on a product, while still others might be analyzing some data or doing some questioning. And the furniture might be all over the place because kids are working on different things in the classroom, and so they shift the furniture around to meet the needs of the students. So it might not look like a traditional classroom, it might just look a little messy.
Teachers are still the content experts. They know how to design the lessons. They're just shifting their thinking to provide more opportunities for the students to make sense of the information, as opposed to them just telling them, you need to know this for the sake of knowing it. They give students opportunities to learn, fumble through it a little bit, and then bring them back to where they need to be.
Deeper learning will help productively allow kids to struggle through things in order to stretch their thinking. We want to make sure that they're not just given one simple answer for one question that we're normally used to. It's one of those things that we're planting a thought or a process, and the kids can kind of struggle through that, but they can work collaboratively with others around them. They can ask teachers for questions. That productive struggle is something that they're going to use forever in their life.
Our focus is not only in preparing students for just those specific subject areas, but it's really how those subject areas interact with each other and actually interact within the real world. So we are preparing our students to be successful in the real world, as opposed to simply being an expert in one small area inside the classroom. That's really what this is all about.
Awesome. And if you're a bumblebee, we've all seen the bee movie, right? If you wander off from the hive, you're in trouble. Nice job, guys.
The kids who graduate through this program are going to come out the other side as very easy hires for most companies.
The way I look at eligibility, are our students able to take on those challenges that are out there just waiting for them? So when a student leaves Bay City Public Schools, is the employer confident that our students are going to be able to rise up to the challenge that they're presented with? And we know that they will be.
As a former student of Bay City Public Schools, I can say firsthand I had an amazing education and teachers and role models who touched me. To this day, I have great relationships with several of them.
It's a commitment to excellence when you're a member of this community, this family.
You'd be very hard-pressed to have any sort of influence that was more impactful than those of the teachers that I had when I went through Bay City Public Schools system.
One in particular that usually brings me to tears is a student that had a stutter his entire life. And I had him for a communications class, And public speaking is very difficult. And at the end of the class, he got up and did a speech. And it was very hard. And he stuttered almost the whole way through. And the students at the end just stood up and clapped for him, and I was in tears. So that, he's now reached out to me, and he's very successful. And he still has his stutter. It's something that he'll probably have his whole life. But the fact that he did it and that I was able to get him to that point where he did that was, as a teacher, very fulfilling. One of my favorite moments my whole career.
If you look around the amazing business leaders and community leaders we have, it's all thanks to teachers. Those teachers invest in us, in their time, and their talents, and their energy, and their words of wisdom, and help shape on who we are and how we think and how we get to the decision-making process that we have. And when we look at the dynamic leaders we have in our community, we can thank a teacher. We can thank all the teachers.
I think the biggest piece of advice is just know that the thing that you're doing is worth it, and that those that you're trying to teach it to are worthy.
I'm excited for our teachers because they're going to be building their toolbox with student-centered practices.
When we come back in August, there's always that excitement. Everyone is refreshed. You're ready to try something new.
And what I love about this training is it's all ready to use stuff.
We have to be thinking forward, not thinking backwards.
This August 16th PD is going to be kind of that shift in mind, but not one more thing that we need to do. It's just making sure that students are aware that they're responsible for their own learning, and teachers are there to help facilitate.
Our PDs now have us engaging in doing the work. So if we are expecting our kids to do a jigsaw, we are taught how to do a jigsaw by doing one. So it puts us in their shoes as the learner. We actually have to do it.
16th is a PD experience for the teachers, but then the CLC time allows them to really work together to determine ones that are going to be effective for their curriculum, and then teachers have their autonomy to use what works for me as an individual teacher as well.
I can take it, apply it to anything that I'm going to teach, and use it right away. It's not theoretical, it's not hypothetical, it's user-friendly.
Whereas before we were just doing the best we could, and now we know what we're going to do.
I'm excited. I think the teachers will be receptive to the learning, and the fact that we're all learning the same thing and working in the same direction is inspiring.
I'm excited to walk through classrooms and see what's going on.